If you or a family member have been hurt because of the careless actions of another person, call Walker, Texas Lawyer. They'll work to get you the financial compensation and justice you deserve. They have 40 years of experience, and you don't pay unless you win. Call 713-881-9653 today for a consultation or go to walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talk, give me funny lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
We inside the Hall of Fame. This is Booker T, six-time world champ. Got my man Brad Gilmore, and we got a very, very special guest with us here this morning, Cedric the Entertainer, promoting his brand new novel, Flipping Boxcars. It's going to be dropping September 12th. Oh, gosh, you got to get it, but I got to get into this, man. Cedric, how you doing, man, first of all? I know you out there working hard. How you feel?
All is well, man. I mean, you know, I'm excited for people to get their hands on this new project, man. So I'm more than happy to get up and talk about it.
You know what sparked this? You know, I mean, I've been in. I got a wrestling school, and it morphed into a wrestling promotion. But it was something that I never thought about in the beginning. Is this something that you thought about, you know, from the beginning, or is it something that you said, "Hey, man, I got a whole lot more work left yet still to be done"?
You know, it came. It came out of a few years back. I would just kind of have these daydreams of my grandfather, things he would say. And this was a person I had never met. He had actually passed before I was even born. So, but, you know, it's this idea that when, you know, people see us and tell us, man, you walk just like your uncle, or you laugh like your grandfather. I've never seen, you know, you don't realize how you connected to your family. And I just really, that kind of sparked this idea about who he was and what kind of man he was. And so I had enough family stories to kind of create a imagery in a world in which I thought he lived. And so I just kind of made a story around it. And that's really was the motivation for writing this fictional tale.
You know, I feel that, man. My grandfather, he always used to say when something, you know, go down, That was his saying.
Yeah.
And you know, I always felt like those were the best stories to tell, and seemed like the easy story. It's almost like doing comedy. Is that related in some sort?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it is that thing that comes out of you inside. Like, you'll realize, like, even when you just did it right now, how it gives you a very, you know, very specific, very, you know, unique feeling. And so I think that a lot of times we're connected by things, especially in our families, and we ain't got more and more generationally as a culture where we don't really know those relatives that go back, you know, that's, you know, our elders, and find out, like, in which, you know, from which we came. And so I think, you know, that was one of the motivations, was to kind of really draw a connection through our family line with a little bit of, you know, like I say, there's enough of the real story, but to add this other story to give motivation and to have that connection to who I am without having never met the man physically.
Yeah, I get that, man. My father passed when I was 10 months old. You know what I mean? But I always hear that story. You know, like you look like your dad. You know what I mean? You strong like your dad. You know, but like. Yeah, but and those stories always seem to touch you. That we always seem to connect to those stories. I can remember my mama. You probably can remember too. My mama telling me, "Go get me a switch," and the switch was for me.
Man. Oh, man. Yeah, we got all kinds of people that these kids can call today for that one right there. You can't even, man. Yeah, you have to go get your own switch. Take the leaves off. Get the switch ready. You be like, that's terrible. Who gets somebody to get their own weapon and then they about to get destroyed on them? Be like, yeah, you go get that for me.
That's called capital punishment, man.
Yes, sir. Are you crying on the way there, on the way back? I ain't gonna do it.
You know, Cedric, Brad Gilmore here, big fan, and I can't wait to dive into the novel. I have more of a process question for you. How'd you go about crafting the narrative of the story? You talked a little bit about the inspiration from your grandfather, but did you do a full story outline, or did things change as you kind of wrote along and you shifted the story from maybe where you initially wanted it to be?
I had like all the basic ideas of what I wanted to tell. I knew that I wanted it to kind of have this crime caper. So we started out with the basis of an idea because, my grandfather was a bootlegger. He and the sheriff of the town were friends and they kind of did business together. So, but we stumbled upon this kind of 4-day so that we could put the whole book inside a time period and give it a clock. And that's when it really started to take a lot more shape, because once we kind of put the clock on it, then we had to tell these stories and kind of like, again, get you through what he was going through from moment to moment in order to kind of meet this kind of 3-day deadline that he had to come up with this money. And so that's when it really started to take shape, and that was fairly early on in the process. It didn't happen immediately, but as I was looking for a way, and then working with my writer, looking for a way to kind of shape the book. That's when the idea came really kind of solidified.
It's just the beginning. How many more novels can we, see coming along the way?
Man, I'm so excited. I wrote this character really in the vein of the Walter Mosley books, like, Devil in a Blue Dress, and he's got the Easy Rollin character who kind of goes from one story to the next. And so, I really kind of saw this character as such. So if when you read this book, you'll recognize that it ends in a bit of a cliffhanger where you want to know what happens afterwards. And so I've already started to formulate the shapes of that book. And so I'm excited about this character, and hopefully people will love it and want more. And so I can see a series building from there. And then, of course, you start to meet the other characters, and then you want to introduce them into their own storylines. And so, in great success, man, I'll keep writing them because I keep visualizing this world so vividly, and it's just fun to do and create all the storylines around it.
Man, that's so cool, man. Flipping Boxcars novel going to be dropping September 12th. Before I get you out of here, man, I got to ask you one question about Bernie Mac. And he's a guy that I loved. Back in 2005, I was going through a divorce, and I had tickets to his concert, and I went by myself, and I was sitting on the front row, and Bernie recognized me, and he threw in, he kind of got stoked for a second, and he threw it, hit me with his towel, and he went, he had a little break, and he invited me back into his locker in his dressing room to sit with him, and he told me jokes, man, about wrestling, all kind of stuff, man. I was so excited. I was like a little kid. How cool was Bernie Mac?
Man, B-Mac is a super legend, man, and he would do that, often. That's kind of his method. He was also, as probably know he pretty much was a loner, but he loved to, share stories and all the comedy and the tales. And that's one of my favorite stories. I tell people that on the first Kings of Comedy, I used to go first. And Bernie he came off stage, and I had a room full of people in my dressing room. And kind of like you, he walked in and just inadvertently started telling a bunch of jokes and stories and ripped it just in my dressing room. So all my people was like, they just couldn't believe they was having this experience. And then he said something, he did, I'm Bernie Mac, I'm out this motherfucker, and just turned around and walked, and everybody was crazy. It's one of my favorite Bernie Mac stories for sure.
Oh man, he was definitely one of the best. I just had to get that in there. Like I said, I know you got a long day.
Yeah,
I just want to thank you for giving me some time stepping inside the Hall of Fame, giving us a little champagne wishes, caviar dreams. The presence, Cedric, the entertainer. New novel, guys, dropping September 12th. Do not miss out. Don't get shut out. Make sure you get it. Anything you want to leave the fans with?
Hey, man, definitely, click all the links in my bio. You go to my IG page in the link in bio. You can order it, pre-order it now. But grab it Tuesday, man. You will enjoy this book. It was something different. It's fun. It's a great ride. So I want people to go and be flipping boxcars with me, man. Let's get it.
Man, I can't wait, man. Hey, man, again, thanks for stepping inside the Hall of Fame. Guys, we will be back in a minute.
Hurry up, tape running out.